Last player standing.
Oh my god, you're actually like so brain dead now.
Oh my god, okay. I got this. I'm just gonna wait for him to peek and... Oh my god, I can't hit him!
Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but I'm willing to bet that this happened to you multiple times before.
Clutch.
Take me.
What's Steph? Hey, I got my one though, so no blames, no blames.
Movement. What is it? No, but seriously, good players have good movement, and I'm about to explain how you too can improve your moves. Peeking. Anytime you're peeking an angle, you should be conscious of how you move. The most effective way of peeking is to use your left and right movement keys. Moving side to side makes you harder to hit since you're adding variation compared to moving forward in a straight line. Now, you can apply that concept to a lot of things. For example, when you're clearing positions, it's best to do a lot of smaller peeks and clear one angle at a time, rather than swinging out into the open since you'll be exposing yourself to multiple angles. There's multiple different types of peeks as well. Passive peeks are for gathering information and not necessarily for engaging in fights, like Jiggle Peeking. Jiggle Peeking is when you sidestep in and out of cover really quickly to get a glance of what's around the angle. This is probably the safest way of peeking past the corner and is very effective at clearing out positions or baiting out enemies to shoot. Then you have Jump Peeking, which is a little more advanced version of Jiggle Peeking. When you jump peek, you're essentially moving in a P shape around the corner, exposing yourself less and making yourself harder to get hit since you're peeking out at a different height. And then there's aggressive peeks like wide swinging. Wide swinging is where you sidestep out into the open and commit to the gunfight. This can throw off the enemy's aim as you peek way past what they're holding. And that's just the core peek styles. I know there's a lot of gimmicky ones out there, but I suggest you master these three first. I have a very short 4-minute comprehensive guide on these peeks that I recommend you go watch. It'll expand on these topics further. This all ties into a concept that I'm sure you've heard over and over before: counter-strafing. Counter-strafing is when you're moving sideways and use the opposite movement key to bring yourself to a full stop quicker. Well, that's the theory. Unlike in CSGO where the movement is more loose and requires players to counter-strafe, you don't actually need to in Valorant. You come to a complete stop with or without counter-strafing. But that doesn't render counter-strafing completely useless. Counter-strafing can be used to make yourself a moving target while still being able to shoot accurately. During the moment you switch directions, your character will come to a complete stop for half a second before moving to the opposite direction. That's when you'll be able to pull off an accurate shot. This is an integral concept for having good movement. During gunfights, try to counter-strafe rather than crouching down and committing to the spray. When you're crouching, it just makes you a literal sitting duck and an easy target for enemies. Counter-strafing makes you harder to hit, not only because you're incorporating movement, but also because you have the option to get back into cover should you need it. Bhopping. You may have heard of bhopping or bunny hopping before. It originated in Quake, where players could zigzag midair and not lose any movement speed, making them faster and harder to hit. Since then, the concept has been incorporated into games like Half-Life and Counter-Strike. Unfortunately, bhopping doesn't provide any movement speed in Valorant, but it still has its uses. Namely, it can be used for air strafing. Air strafing can be used to jump to positions that you otherwise couldn't normally get to with traditional jumps. For example, on Icebox, you can get on top of Generator with any agent by air strafing. It can also be used to get around cover safely since you'll be harder to hit with the erratic movement. Not only that, you can also use it to silently jump up steps and slopes more smoothly, like Window on Haven, Heaven on Bind, or Sewers and Split. In order to make bhopping more consistent, a lot of people set their mouse wheel to jump. Valorant lets you bind 2 keys to a movement so you can still use spacebar, but since the mouse wheel can send multiple inputs really quickly, it can make your jumping more consistent. These are all important concepts to stay conscious of when playing in game, and you can practice all of the techniques we just discussed right here in the range. Practice your peeking with the retake simulator. Practice your counter-strafing timing against the wall. You can also go to your video settings, and under gameplay stats, you can enable shooting error to better visualize your timing when shooting. And don't forget to practice your jumps and agility on the parkour course that's available. It'll take time, but if this random schmuck can do it, then so can you. Alright, that's all. Good luck in your games, everyone.